Hello, everybody. Welcome to the StockYards podcast. I'm Jacob D'Souza. Today, we're joined by John Gamble, CEO of EnerDynamic Hybrid Technologies. They're a leader in renewable solar technologies and based in Niagara Falls, Ontario, and they trade on the TSXV Venture Exchange under the ticker EHT. EnerDynamic is currently closing the acquisition of Windular Research and Technologies and its state-of-the-art wind turbine system designed for the telecom industry. The acquisition is going to create a diversified solar and wind leader with a well-funded balance sheet and a strong multi-channel sales and distribution network poised for growth in the global residential, agricultural, and telecommunications markets. John, welcome to the Yard. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited to dig into EnerDynamic today. The green energy transition that accelerated in 2020 with COVID-19 and the global focus on ESG generally, it certainly hasn't slowed down in 2021 as countries embrace green growth versus the traditional fossil fuel-based industry. Why don't you give us an overview of EnerDynamic before we get into your product verticals?
Yeah, EnerDynamic is I guess the poster child for ESG. We've been around since 2013, and in that time we've developed a suite of products based on two main fundamentals. One thing is the skin technology that we came up with to impregnate fiberglass with fire retardant 1 hour rated resin that basically makes a material for walls and structures. And number two was, taking that material and able to embed solar cells into that material so that the actual outside walls, roofs became energy platforms to run whatever type of I wouldn't say module, but it could be a modular house, but any type of structure that is built can be powered by the outside of the structure, and not having to clad it with racking and whatever else, which is traditional solar products.
That's fascinating. So you're focusing on residential and agricultural markets, obviously. Let's talk about housing first and cover some of your IP on solar panels and your EnerTech energy efficient structures. Among your competitors in the space, what makes EnerDynamic so different to the other guys?
Well, the main thing is our solar panel that we make, or the solar structure that we make, if it's a complete roof structure, or it can be made into an actual solar panel. The big thing is that it's at least 60% lighter than a normal solar panel, number one. Number two, there's no glass. We came up with an acrylic polymer that coats the outside of the cell. So therefore, that cell, when the solar panel is on the roof or on the wall or whatever, there's no glass attached, so nothing to break. Traditional solar panels all have glass, and that glass can be just with one little tiny bump or bang will crack and enable that panel to be useless. With our material, if one cell got hit, that means that cell stops, but all other 59, if it's a 60 cell panel, continue to work. So that's the big difference between us and everybody else. Our solar structures are non-breakable.
So fascinating. So I can see a lot of applications for this technology, from things like, say, remote mining sites to fishing huts to home offices to even cottage additions. And you actually have two different modular units, right? You have the Ener Room and the Ener Suite, each to cater to different sort of use applications. And that's, of course, in addition to the custom homes that you guys offer. So can I ask, where are you seeing the most demand for your products right now? And what sort of space or sector or use case application do you see demand being highest right now?
Well, currently we are selling a lot of units into the mining sector for mining units. The big thing about mining camps is with our material being so lightweight. Most of these camps are set up by helicopters because they're so remote. There's just no roads that go there.
Right.
And traditional, like a 9x12 structure, sleeping quarter would weigh about 1,800 pounds out of a 2x4, wood built, and our material is about 1,200 pounds. So that difference, about 500-600 pounds, is huge for cost saving, and in the actual type of helicopter needed to take these things into the mining camps. So that's a huge plus for their side, but also our structures are so well insulated, because the other great thing about our material is we make our material 3 meters wide by 190 meters long. So what it means is when we make a wall, we make the wall complete in one shot. There's no seams. So when we put that 9x12 together, there's not a seam or joint. So therefore, there's nowhere air can escape or air can come in. So therefore, you've got now a completely sealed unit. We actually install a special regulator that regulates the air coming in and out, air exchanger, because they're so well sealed, the walls inside will just sweat with the person's own humidity.
Right.
In last winter was our first winter of camps in the Yukon. We proved out the technology that they only need a 400-watt heater at -30 to keep these units warm.
That's fascinating because, one of the big things that I noticed when I took a look at some of your products is that they seem to particularly excel, in places that are away from urban centers. So, for example, like a mining camp that you mentioned, and B, to a place that requires transportation. So it's a very interesting kind of tidbit that a lot of these camps, as an example, are kind of, as you say, assembled, or at least things are shipped in by air, which is something that most of us wouldn't even think about. Obviously, most people living in urban settings. And I think also, it's a good point that, these products offer and excel in arenas where there isn't necessarily a robust or reliable electrical grid to connect to in the first place. That's particularly useful, I think, nowadays, right? A lot of people, especially individual consumers, when they want to get away for trips, they're often seeking out places away from urban centers where there isn't necessarily 100% connectivity. So it's fascinating to hear how your products perform in environments like those.
Oh, correct. And they do, they have excelled. Like I said, that mining camp last winter was all run with solar on the roof of each of the units that we built, and then powered down into 4 2-kilowatt-hour batteries. So there was plenty of battery to run that 400-watt heater all night long without any other charging. So it can run completely off grid. The other big thing about it is, our products, as we now start and roll out, we're looking to get into distributors and that we can get into the home office market, where these can be used and put in your backyard, and you can work in there. We've already sold a number of units for people, especially now during COVID. They use them as their backyard office.
Right.
Or they make them their main office, put in their TV screens and all that stuff, and run their daily work environment out of that. So they're out of the house. They're not on top of the kids or whatever in the house. They got a quiet environment and a place that's they can run totally off grid, so they don't have to worry about running cables or running power. These units just run. So that's for the future as we go forward. Complete new sales opportunities in silo for us.
Well, I think backyard offices saw segment growth that you haven't seen in decades in the past year with work from home. That's for sure. So let's switch gears a little bit here to sort of another market of yours. So, not too long ago, a Category 5 Hurricane Maria, devastated the northeastern Caribbean. That was in September of 2017, particularly in Puerto Rico, where there was basically over 160,000 different homes that were destroyed, along with the regional power grid. And you had an innovative solution to prevent this from happening again. Can you tell us more about when and how you got the idea to offer EnerDynamic's expertise in Puerto Rico and the net zero homes that you're building in that territory? Are they really hurricane proof?
Yes, they are. We actually have a certification that's higher than Miami-Dade, which is usually the gold standard. But we actually had our products certified in Puerto Rico under the Puerto Rican guide, and which is again is a higher certification than Miami-Dade. So with Puerto Rico, we've partnered in a joint venture with a company called Cat5 Solar and Microgrids. We're a 50% owner. The owner of Cat5 Solar, he invented and has a patent on a block technology that basically they're cinder blocks, but they're made special. They're actually made 8 inches instead of regular block of 6 inches. But that block, the way it's made internally, it you get a 3,500 pounds per square foot rating on the block. So very, very strong, very, very dense. The other thing is these blocks, there is no mortar in between the blocks. So the blocks stack on each other as you go up like a Lego. You have special corner blocks, special interior blocks, special blocks all the way around. That by use of that block, you can put that block into use with just unskilled labor. And what it does is you can build a house using that in less than 30 days. So
Wow.
the idea is with our technology for the interior, we use our technology for the interior walls and for the roof. And then of course, put our solar embedded in the roof. That he can do the outside, we can do the inside, we can build a house in 60 days.
That's incredible.
That's phenomenal, but normal house in Puerto Rico takes at least 120 to 150 days. So we're twice as fast as any other house builder.
Yeah, it's fast by any standard. I mean, even when you think about houses that are built, in our home country, in Canada, that's also the timeline you would associate with it is a matter of many months. So to think that these can go up in just a few is quite incredible and be built to such a high and durable standard. Really is testament to your technology. So on that end of your success in bringing this to Puerto Rico, so you're forecasting an average of $150,000 of revenue per home with about 200 orders received so far, I understand. So that's clearly substantial revenue. So what's your forecast looking like for 2021 and 2022 in Puerto Rico?
Our forecast is actually going up by the day. And I'd like to say, just as a background from the last question there, we've been in Puerto Rico. Actually, we started looking down there with Cat5 actually before the hurricane in 2017, and then after the hurricane, of course, we really got on board and got on the ground there. It has been to date. There's been very few homes built, and it's very sad. Fact. The fact is that the former administration in the U.S. would not pay the money that they were supposed to for the hurricane cleanup and for the rebuilding process. But since the new administration has come in, over $11 billion has been sent to Puerto Rico. So the process is now started. That's where our first couple hundred orders. The other thing that happened in Puerto Rico was actually there was an earthquake in 2019 that destroyed another 5, 6, 7,000 homes. Our material is also earthquake resistant. So we're now looking at, and not only are we in the housing sector, which is finally getting going, but we're also working in the earthquake sector. And there's 5 boroughs or municipalities that are in the earthquake zone that we've been working with all the mayors to now, and in the next weeks here, we are going to have the first orders to build the first, there's about 1,500 earthquake homes that we will be given the order for. And in this case, there is no other earthquake home that meets the standard. So we're the only game in town. So there's approximately over 5,000 to build, but we'll look at the first 1,500 going forward here. We're not trying to pad our order book too quickly. We've got the first couple hundred. Now we're ready to start. We have the first 70,000 blocks are complete and tested and ready to start to build. We feel that we should have the first house built sometime about the end of August here, and we will start building like 5 houses the first month, 10 the next month, because we've got to train the people and the unskilled labor, which everybody loves, to, how to become skilled in how to put our technology together.
Oh, it's a great point about the earthquakes too, because obviously when you're looking at providing a solution, you have to think holistically, right? It's no use if it's just works for one issue and not for another potential issue that may invariably and unfortunately and sadly be faced. And it's a good point because it's not something that we living in Canada or us both in Ontario think about a lot. Because thankfully, it hasn't happened over here, but it's a reality that some people in the world are dealing with this, and obviously you want the place that you live and your dwelling to be able to sustain any natural disasters that were to occur.
Well, absolutely, and it also goes back to the new administration in the U.S. Their new logo is "Build Back Better," and that's what we provide to the people of Puerto Rico. We can build their houses, and we can build them back better. Period. I mean, it's a perfect slogan that Biden came up with, but it really suits for because again, there's not very many places that have those two major catastrophic things that can happen to them. Number one, an earthquake is bad enough, but hurricanes happen every other, could be this year, could be next year. It's coming.
Right.
You don't know when an earthquake's coming either, but for sure a hurricane's coming, and it's coming your way. Just depends how strong it really is. And with the global change in environment now, every hurricane, the hurricanes are getting far higher categories all the time.
So let's talk about your agricultural division. So you're using Enertech structures to build off-grid modular growth units and provide higher harvest yields in the agricultural sector. So running completely on solar and wind. Why is this an important vertical for EnerDynamic to go into, and what are the opportunities in this space for you guys?
Well, it's a very important vertical to help people, really. We've been working now over 2 years with Canadore College in North Bay, and we put a test unit in North Bay at the same time 2 years ago, and we've had a researcher up there doing the research in our technology to just prove out. And you can see on our website we keep putting different segments. She's been growing all different kinds of fruits and vegetables, and because again it comes back to the technology is the environment we create is so airtight. Number one. Number two, because there's no steel, there's no thermal bridging, you're not heating and cooling the container, which is the problem with container farming. Because there's no thermal bridging, there's nothing to heat or cool from the outside in the inside.
Right.
So what it does, that's what allows us to be able to run these units off grid, because all you're doing inside is heating and cooling the air. And I can tell you just the lights that we use, and we use LED lights, which put out very little heat. That's enough heat to heat the structure. So even in the winter in North Bay at -30, we still have to put a portable air conditioner inside the unit to keep it cool, because our split air conditioners that we use can't cool down to -30. So we have to put a small portable. It goes to the testament of, number one, there's no cold getting in from the outside in, so we still have to cool the inside air. And by doing that, the plants inside get a continuous 21, 22 degrees, depending on the plant. And all that does to a plant is say, you know what? I've got the perfect environment. I just keep growing.
Right.
And we've proven, from seed to flower to fruit, we can grow 20 to 40% faster than normal greenhouses, and we can produce 20 to 40% larger fruit, and whether it be cucumbers, tomatoes, whatever. So what this does is and this is what we've been working now with the federal government, proving out this technology for all these First Nations in Canada, all these remote sites where they're flying in fruits and vegetables in the summertime that are wilted, in the wintertime that are rock hard, and they turn, over 50% of all the fruits and vegetables that go to these First Nation remote reserves is spoiled on by the time it gets there.
Right.
And the Canadian government spent $750 million last year flying fruits and vegetables into these remote areas. Our proposal is we put the units there. Canada or College can train the people of those reserves how to grow their own fruits and vegetables, and they can grow what they want to grow, whatever. If they want to grow, potatoes, if they want to grow, cucumbers, blueberries, strawberries, whatever they want to grow, they can grow in a nice protected environment, 100% organic. There's absolutely no pesticides, anything that goes in any of our units. And all year round, whatever they want, they can grow.
And it had a great benefit to the environment too, right? Without the transportation of having to fly it in.
Don't have to fly it in. You don't have the transportation cost of getting it there. You don't get it, all this spoiled, rotten food all the time that has to go in dumps or whatever. All those things. It's it's a cost saving from A to B, and it gives them the satisfaction of growing fruits and vegetables. Not only that, but the medical cost. Most of these First Nation reserves, they have over 50% of their population has diabetes. And why they have diabetes is because they don't have good nutrition, because they don't have fresh fruits and vegetables. It's a complete round circle that we can solve with these units.
Let's switch gears a little bit here to talk about some of your plans for the future. So you recently announced the acquisition of Windular, an innovative wind technology company that works with global telecom firms to power millions of off-grid cellular towers around the world that are currently powered by fossil fuels. So, John, may I ask why Windular? I mean, many companies like to engage in M&A as they're growing, but we all know that picking the right deal is a matter of finding the right partner at the right price. So, how does their technology fit with EnerDynamic?
Well, their technology fits seamlessly, and it's something we've known, and I've known the founder of Windular for a couple of years, and looked at where they were going, and we've been talking back and forth, and they really liked our solar technology because because of it not having glass. And what they found problems was you want to put a solar panel to run their guidance system at the top of the tower, and all the time it would get hit with with either hail or if a guy's on the tower working and a nut comes down and hits that solar panel, bingo, it's cracked, and they got to get back up the tower and fix it. And with our technology, that takes that away. But the big plus is they have they've already broken into that cell tower market, and they have good solid orders coming. They've done orders for Bell Canada, for big large telecommunication companies, that they don't even there is no RFP with them because there's nobody else in the world that has their technology. But combine the two, now they can go and sell a complete renewable energy off-grid system, because wind can't do it all by itself. You need to have to get a complete off-grid system off diesel, you need solar, because you can't, wind doesn't blow 24 hours a day, but you get sun. But the beauty with our technology is a lot of times telecoms try to put solar at the bottom around the base of the tower, but most of the time the base of the tower, there isn't any available land in a city or whatever. What we've now worked on with Windular is that we make our solar panels the same width as the tower, and then take them and bolt them right onto the tower, halfway up the tower, 20 meters up. Nobody else in the world can do that. And
that's amazing.
That's why we've looked at and they've now started to put that technology out to the cellular towers that they've already done, which is one main company called Telenor. Telenor is the fifth largest telecommunications tower in the world. Windular has done 7 or 8 sites in Pakistan for them, and now they've got we're rolling out more and more orders will be coming in the pipe from Telenor, but also Telenor is very enthusiastic now about combining our solar with the wind to take more and more of their sites off grid. They have a mandate currently by 2026. They're supposed to have all their diesel generated cell towers off grid. And currently they have over 200,000 towers that are running on diesel. So that's a huge demand. I mean, you're looking at, when you talk about numbers, to take a cell tower off grid, you're talking a minimum of 125 to 150,000 per tower.
Wow.
So that's some big numbers. So that's the reason, Windular wanted to join us, and that's the reason we wanted to join Windular, because we want to capture a lot of that market that we can.
All right, John. So now it's time for our rapid fire segment here as we wrap up for some different but more interesting questions. Quick questions, quick answers. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Your most exciting product?
Most exciting product, I would say, is this new wind solar cell tower technology. I think that's going to be a real home run.
Your biggest anticipated challenge for EnerDynamic in the future?
Biggest challenge is getting people and getting the right people and to build out the firm as we grow on all these different market segments.
Biggest anticipated opportunity for EnerDynamic?
Biggest opportunity, probably West Africa. The technology, our technology to build houses in West Africa, we have the right technology, and the need there is off the charts. I mean, you're talking tens of millions of houses between Ghana, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Senegal, all these areas. The need for homes, and decent homes for people, and not, and cost effective, but to run off grid, because the one problem, especially over there, is there isn't a lot of grid. So, and the cost of power is high. So that's where there's a huge potential, which we've been, of course, working on over the last 5 years.
In 5 years, speaking of 5 years, in 5 years from now, you see EnerDynamic where?
Oh, we see it as a global, definitely a global company. We're already getting orders from Australia through Windular, and I believe we'll be hitting many market sectors and have tentacles into almost on every continent for sure.
Your personal favorite thing about leading the company?
Well, just the challenge of daily with all this new things coming up. But as Jerry has said from Windular, we provide solutions to companies. We're a solution provider. We have the technology. You tell us what you need. We can figure out a way using our technology to answer your problems.
Well, John, thanks very much for your time today. We've learned a lot about how you're taking advantage of the clean tech industry with some, I have to say, really innovative products. I mean, I think reading about it on its own doesn't do it justice. Your explanations on just exactly how you can innovate, what you do, how you do it, and the scale as well of what you're doing is really something. So thanks for stopping by our yard.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
So everybody, we're going to link EnerDynamic's website below in the description if you're curious for more. And until next time, thanks for watching StockYards.